All right, it's been quite a while since we last did one of our best build showcases where we go over add-ons and perks for each killer and kind of what we think from our experience are the best builds. We've had a little bit of time to play with the alien chapter, so we've got a relatively generic build and then one that is a little spicier that we might show you guys that we think are pretty good. But for the rest of these killers, we have some very solid builds that we think are the best. So we're going to run through this, try to keep it relatively quick so it doesn't drag on forever. With all the killers in this game, you can take up a lot of time, literally hours, going over all the best builds. So we'll try to keep this short and sweet, run through our best builds, and then later on I might do a little best of the rest sort of series where we give kind of a second, third option, maybe some with cheaper add-ons if you don't have all the fancy add-ons or you're running through them too quick, and then maybe we'll do a little bit of just generic builds, best generic builds, that kind of thing. So that's a video for another time. So we're going to run through here. We'll start with Trapper, the old face of the franchise here, and with Trapper, we really think that what it comes down with Trapper is you need time to set up, and anything that can help you either in chase or help you with your traps is very welcome. So add-on wise, we always like to bring the Trapper sack so you get spawned with, excuse me, a little drink real quick. There we go. Got to stay hydrated. Trapper sack allows you to start with all of your bear traps, which I think is currently, is it 6 traps? So 6 traps is going to be 8 in the upcoming mid chapter. But start with all your traps, and then we have the iridescent stone, which every 30 seconds, one of your bear traps that is closed becomes set. So that helps you skip time of resetting traps and skip time picking up the traps. Downside is you can't pick them up at all. So once you place them, they're there. So you got to be smart with where you place them. But these are time savers. Then, like we said, we bring some slowdown. We have Corrupt, buys you some time at the beginning of the game. Also gives you kind of a zone to start setting up your traps, somewhere that you know they're going to have to come to later. You can kind of set up a 3-gen if you need to. Deadlock is just additional slowdown, buy you time. No Way Out buys you time at the end of the game. So you can see some beginning, middle, and slowdown, buy you extra time, extend that game, and allow you to play your game, play that long game. And then save the best for last is just a perk there to speed up our cooldown when we do get the hits. So you just kind of have slow down, speed up. Pretty easy, pretty simple there. So that's our favorite build here. And we'll hop over to our next killer, which is the Wraith. We will say the Wraith is not one of our favorite to play, but we have forced ourselves to play him quite a lot because, as weird as it seems, we were the worst playing the Wraith. We always would screw up our bing bongs and not cloak or not uncloak, and it was just an absolute mess. So we got that under control. He has some strong add-ons, and that's what we really like about the Wraith. The first one is Swift Hunt, and what this does is it increases uncloaking speed, speeds you up. You can see a theme here. We have Blind Warrior as well, which is basically Sloppy Butcher in add-on form, which just more slowdown and helps you kind of catch people healing, get some easy downs. The Wraith does have the ability to traverse the map very quickly, so keeping people injured or making that take longer gives you some more free hits. And we like a chase perk here in Bamboozle just to help us close off windows and then force pallets a little quicker. And then it just helps us clear the map, continue to move around the map fast, provide a lot of pressure, and get easy downs. And then the rest is just slow down. Early game slow down, kind of throughout the game slow down. And this is just one that is kind of hit or miss. If the small map can be very good, on bigger maps a little less good. But if you get any sort of slowdown from it, it can be very good. For the Hillbilly then, we go with a pretty generic build. We like the Doom engravings and the Death engravings, bring the double engravings, and then we just have some slowdown, deadlock, no way out. Don't have to waste time kicking gens. We can just be zooming around the map looking for people to one-shot. Bamboozle helps us close off windows. His chainsaw helps us deal with pallets. And then we have Tinkerer just for some stealth and some information throughout the game. Not the best Billy player in the world, but we do like this generic build. One that's very easy to get to. You actually have one Hillbilly perk mixed in here, and then you have some that are just good on anybody. For the Nurse, we got, again, another kind of generic build. You got some information with Lethal and Barbecue, and then you have some slowdown with No Way Out and Deadlock. She's a chase killer. This allows you to just rely on chasing. And then add-on wise, we have the Dark Cincher and we've got the Wooden Horse. So this decreases missed attack fatigue, and then this one increases movement speed after a blink before fatigue. So just some cooldown stuff that you're messing with there, just to be a little bit more forgiving with your blinks. And then with Huntress, you got options here. You can run the lesser versions or the good versions. Either the good versions of extra hatches and decreased windup time just allows her to not have to reload as much and just to feel a little bit better. You can get some quicker throws there, which makes a difference. And then here we just have some information and some slowdown. You can swap this out for Bitter Murmur or some other things there, but you really want some slowdown, some information, and just be able to chain together those hits and get those downs. With the shape, this is an oldie but a goodie for us. I know there's a lot of builds out there using a lot of new perks, but this is one that we've been using for years, and it just works well for us. You can go a lot of different directions with the shape, whether that is Infinite Tier 3, whether that's Scratch Mirror, or any of the mirrors. And you can also go with Tombstone Piece and go for the Moris. But if you're just playing a generic stalk, level up, use your ability, then it runs out and you have to stalk again kind of build, this is one we like. You have Joel for some slowdown, Corrupt for the beginning of the game to give you some time to stalk. Infection lets you chain together that tier 3, which is limited, into hopefully multiple downs. And then Bamboozle just helps you in chase. Then we run the Dead Rabbit just to help with the terror radius, get a little bit stalk, get a little bit closer before we pop that tier 3. And then we just run the Hair Bow for a little bit more duration at the cost of a little bit more stalk the first time around. Then with the Hag, we like add-on wise the setting speed and the range add-ons. There's a bunch of different options there. These are kind of the middle ones. You could run the better ones as well. And then we like to be able to set up our web of traps early on. So Corrupt buys us some time. Deadlock buys us time throughout the game. Sloppy is good just to keep them injured, maybe running around, panicking a little bit, hitting a trap, and then we can down them. Then we've got No Ed for the late game. I will say one kind of flex spot is Sloppy Butcher. That could be Fearmonger if you're doing a little bit more chasing off of gens and want to slow them down and give yourself a chance to catch up. This also could be Franklin's if you want to deal with any sort of items. Franklin's was bigger when you needed a flashlight to get rid of the traps. That's not the case anymore, so not as critical. But hey, if you see a bunch of good toolboxes, med kits, whatever, and you want Franklin's, this is the spot you can sub that into. Then with the Doctor is probably the killer we have the most time on. Used to use him all the time for our shrine showcases, and pretty generic Doctor build here. We like the Iridescent Queen add-on, does literally everything for you there. And then we also like the Discipline add-on, so you can kind of look at these, but basically what this one does is all survivors struck by shock therapy or static blast acquire a lingering charge. They discharge it on other survivors, so it keeps that madness going. Then we like the Discipline, which decreases the detonation delay of the shock therapy, and then it also provides illusionary stain, terror radius, that kind of stuff. So that's our favorite of the add-ons there. So kind of run the two best there. We have Discordance for some information, know where to go. Also lets us know when anyone's doubled up, so we can use that shock and make sure we hit multiple people for the madness. Save the best for last, speeds us up. Jolt's just good on an M1 killer. And then Merciless Storm works fantastic to lock gens down for you for 20 seconds, especially when the madness is going all over and those skill checks are just spinning in different directions, showing up weird places. Just a nice slowdown, some speed up, a little bit of info, and it just works very well. On the Cannibal, this is kind of short and sweet, though we will tell you one little tech that you can do. The Chilies, either one's good. The Beast Marks, or what's the other one here? Knife Scratches, are just your best add-ons. You can run the best versions or a little bit lesser versions depending on what you have. Bamboozle is always great, like with Billy, because chainsaws wreak havoc on pallets, but windows can be a problem. So you can shut down the windows, get those pallets down, and just mow through them. This build here, we like kind of the lethal to get us into a chase. You have No Way Out paired with lethal later on, and pop just to kind of slow things down and find survivors. If you want to get cheeky, you can sub out pop for Trail of Torment and go a little bit stealthy. So instead of having the slowdown, what you have here is that you can become undetectable, and when they come back to the generators, you just spring on them. That's good for the laughs, for the lulls, but not as competitive. Pop's definitely going to be better for you. Then with the Nightmare's in a weird place. There's a lot of killers that do what the Nightmare does better, but kind of our favorite one here is Nancy's Masterpiece. So you get a little cooldown reduction for your projection. We like the blindness effect just to try to mess with them a little bit, kind of go with the Freddy theme of them being in the dream world, not being able to function as well. And then because Freddy's teleport is so tied to gens, we like having discordance to know which ones I'm doubling up on, which ones we need to pressure or teleport to. Jolt and pop for the slowdown, because you lose your power as soon as all the gens are done. So you want to play in the mid game, not the end game, and then save the best for last just to speed us up in chase. On the pig, you got a lot of options on the add-ons. The two best are probably the crate of gears, which increases the setting speed and increases the time to search the boxes, and then the tempered timer, which reduces the amount of time on the death timer. So this can get you some head pops. You can do some other fun combinations, but these two are probably the best. Then we like to save the best for last. You can use her dash to save stacks. Then you've got some slowdown, and we don't really want to be kicking gens or any of that kind of stuff between the head traps and these two, deadlock and no way out. You have mid and late game, early game, late game, mid game, whatever it may be, kind of a combination with all of these. Slowdown, and then you have discordance just to let you know where people are doubling up and where to go. Like I said, we're trying to go through this fast, keep this video relatively short. So hopping over to Clown, who's one of our favorite, our original main. And with the Clown, we really think the Flask of Bleach, which increases the hindered penalty by 4%, plus the extra bottle. You could go with extra 2 bottles. That's probably your best bet there. We're cheapos. We're running a lot of the single bottles, but we like that. And then we like Jolt, Deadlock for our slowdown, save the best for last for speeding us up. You have the bottles for slowing them down. We're running Brutal right now because we like to just go through pallets, but there's a lot of people that believe that with a combination of bottles, a yellow on your side, a purple on their side, you don't need to break any pallets. If you're one of those people, this could very easily be something like Corrupt for some additional slowdown, or it could be something like, is this the right one here? No, that's not the right one. Here it is. Like Rapid Brutality from the Alien chapter, where you get 5% haste for 8 seconds. I think it goes up to 10% or 12%, something like that. After you get a hit, you can bind that. I would say the best for last. And your bottles, now they're slower, you're faster. You can really get downs quickly. So a lot of options right there. Our favorite right now is Brutal, but that could definitely be Rapid Brutality. It could be Corrupt. It could be a number of things, depending what you feel like you need. Then with the Spirit, we still think the Mother-Daughter Ring for movement speed and the Killer Instinct you get from the Dried Cherry Blossom is still the best combo. We'll give a shout out to recently said that, hey, the 3 meters from 4 meters was supposed to be a nerf, but now it just makes you more accurate with knowing where people are. So if you don't have that Killer Instinct, well, you're too far away, get closer, and then boom, just swing. And we just like generic perks on our information with Discordance, Jolt, no edit for the late game, Sloppy to keep them injured, make them loud so we can hear them. Very basic build, one that hasn't changed a super amount since a while ago, years ago. Then with Legion, this is one of the few killers that we really are messing with a new perk. With like Lethal, it gets into a chase early. Then you use the Killer Instinct from your ability to chain together some injures. Now you got everybody injured. That's awesome. Then we just have some generic slowdown that we don't have to use the kick. Information-wise, we're messing with this new perk, Alien Instinct, that when you hook a survivor, you see the furthest injured survivor for 5 seconds. I think it goes up to 6 or 7, maybe 8, I forget what it is, at its tier 3, but they're also oblivious for like 20 seconds then as well. So it can give you information on going to get that next down and also some help doing it. Add-on wise, depending on what we're doing, we do like the stylish sunglasses with the etched ruler. So that way if we can't get some chained together feral frenzies, we can go back for people that are mending and kind of link up that obliviousness and get some free downs, which is what we're trying to do. But there's a lot of different combos that you can run there. You can even run some generic stuff as well. Something as simple as the duration and lunge duration add-on, something like that. There's a lot of different ones you can run. Our favorites, though, are the glasses and the etched ruler, but you can kind of play around with those. They're not as critical to the build as the perks are. With the Plague, this is by far our favorite. We like to play Plague in a way where we are using our corrupt pools as often as possible. We'd rather not be puking on people and going for M1s. We want to get downs. We want to just have a strong early game and wreak havoc. So we have lethal paired with our double apples and the pool that you get. So now we have three pools to get right away. So we see where they're at, see where they're doubling up, tripling up, whatever. Grab a pool, go try to get some injuries, some downs, and then once we get those early downs, once we hook them, we have playthings. So now they're oblivious. So that could lead to more downs, or that could lead to them just off gens, cleansing totems. If they're cleansing totems, we get information with retribution, grab more pools, get more downs. Once they clear all that stuff out, we have Pentimento for the late game slowdown. And basically, if they stay injured, now we go to that grindy part of the game where we're M1ing and gens are just taking forever. If they decide to cleanse during that because they're tired of being injured, even though things are taking forever, they want to be healthy and have to take 2 hits. Well, now we got our power back. So by far our favorite build. The weakest perk is probably Retribution. If it goes early, then you don't have a ton of information. That can get tough, but we just haven't found anything better that fits into this build. With Ghostface, Ghostface is another killer that's pretty generic, pretty basic, right? You stealth, you mark, you one-shot, you chase in normal functions, normal ways. So we like Barbecue Lethal. Lethal gives us information to get that early stalk off, early marks, early downs. Barbecue lets us know where to go next. We got Sloppy for keeping them injured, maybe sneaking up on them. Jolt for our slowdown. And then you can run the Philly and the Walleyes matchbook just for some degrees time to mark and some recovery time. But you also, with Lethal, can run any of the add-ons that reveal auras. So like the outdoor security camera. And I think there's one other one. You might be wrong. I think there's one more that also provides some sort of information. We're not finding it right now, but you can kind of combo those up, and it's a lot of fun that way. So you got options there. With Demo's one we play a lot. The Barb's Glass is for the pallet break cooldown. That's kind of your save the best for last. That's one of our favorite. You can also run the Blackheart, which is the decreased shred hit cooldown. So if you shred a pallet or a person, you get a cooldown. That's very nice. If you want more info, we like 11 Soda, which shows you generators, auras while they're being repaired, lets you know where to go with your pop. So that's an option. This is an option as well. But then we just like a Chase Perk and Bamboozle. We can shred through pallets. Bamboozle helps win those. And then we just have Slow Down to draw out that game, let us get our downs. With the Oni, we used to like a very Scourge Hook based build, but with some changes to the Scourge Hooks, we think this is a more generic and just universally good build. With the add-ons, we like the wooden Oni mask, so this increases Blood Orb drops, get your power quicker. All right, you get them when they vault, throw pallets, exit lockers, do anything. And then we also like the duration add-on. Some people might like the speed add-on. We like the duration because then it's consistent for us. It's not changing. But these two we think are the best, but there's some other good ones as well. There's also, I think, purple versions of these. What is it? The duration's Line Fang. And then Splintered Pole is the wooden Oni purple version. We just have more of these. But we like just our slowdown, and then we like our info to let us know where to go. So when we're running around in our power, we can find people, and then we keep the gens slowed down at least a little bit, or the late game slowed down. And the idea is to just chain together those orbs of blood and our power. With Slinger, this again is one we play a lot. We like the reload add-ons. That might change with the upcoming base kit reload rework, but we like Discordance. We like Save the Best for last, speed things up. Jolt, Deadlock for our slowdown. The one perk that's kind of flexible is Discordance. If you don't feel like you need it, you feel like you can just patrol gens. We do like some other perks in this slot. Dissolution's a big one. We like that to try to deal with pallets, force them into either coming back towards us where we get the M1 or vaulting and breaking the pallet. Your mileage may vary though with that perk. With the Executioner, probably our best killer, the one we play by far the most recently. If we were going to say we're kind of an expert on any killer, it would be this one. This is a generic build. Range add-ons, don't run any other add-ons. Double range is what you need to run. Problem is when you run double range, you'll feel like you're at a disadvantage if you run anything else. So just stick with them, and then you're not really going to be consistently hooking people. You're going to try to hook everybody one time for your no way out stacks. Deadlocks your slowdown. Lethal gets you going, and into chase very early. And then we like to pair that up with I'm all ears for some cheeky snipes. Just a real generic build, but it works well without having to worry about when you can cage, when you can't cage, when you have to hook people. So very good build right there. With the Blight, again, the Blight's strong. We like the Compound 21, which reveals auras. That helps us out. And then we have one of the speed add-ons here with Blooded Rat. You can run double speed. We just like the Compound 21 for our own needs. We just think it helps us orient ourselves, and it pairs up well with Lethal and just having lots of information. So we've got that. We've got Lethal. We've got Barbecue for lots of information early game, after hooks, whenever we're kind of going around the map slamming into things. If they try to get stealthy, this perk is a little bit underrated in finding stealthy survivors, right? If they're not in a locker, if they're just crouching around, you can find them. And then we've got some speed to get around the map, and then just 2 generic slowdown perks. You could change those up if you like kicking gens. We don't. We hate kicking gens, so these are just some sort of passive slowdown perks. With the twins, the easiest things to run are the Tiny Fingernail and the Tiny Sword, which are Victor's Unbind time and then his Pounce time. You could run some of the perks that help out with Victor's movement speed. That's always good. It throws people off as well. So those are options. But the speed ones, Toy Sword just is kind of just should be base kit. That's one you have to have. And then you can play around with your other one. And then we like Discordance because Discordance gives you the notification whether you're in Victor's form or you're in Charlotte's. So it works with either one. No Way Out, Deadlock or Slowdown. Sloppy helps people stay injured. So you can try to track them down with Victor and take them out. But just very good. Sorry, we're getting a text message there. Very good overall build. Then with the Trickster, we're a bad Trickster, we'll say that. So we kind of rely on this crutch build. If we were better, we might recommend something else. But if you're someone that, especially like us, we play with a controller, you can see it in our little logo. This is kind of a crutch build for us controller players. If you're on mouse and keyboard, you can probably go with something a little bit different. But we like the Fizz Spin Soda, so this decreases the amount of blades for maximum throw. Then you have movement speed bonus as well, so we move faster, we can get damage in faster. We've got our slowdown here, Bamboozle to help us out in chase. And so basically we're dealing with windows with this, and then Blood Favor and Undying deal with pallets. So we try to lock down loops, get downs, and hope that Deadlock is enough slowdown for us. With Nemesis is a lot of fun. We like playing into the zombie detection, movement speed, respawn, all that good stuff. And end game, you have them in the exit areas. We're trying to make the zombies as good as possible. And then we run Discordance because the zombies can play off of Discordance. Ruin to pair up with Pentamental to give us some slowdown, along with Pain Resonance. Very solid build there. Good bit of slowdown, and then try to make the zombies as strong as possible. With the Cenobite, we like running a more generic build. We've got Noed, we've got some slowdown in our Deadlock and No Way Out, some info with Barbecue, and we like to just make the configuration take longer and make the chain hunt start sooner, try to throw off that timing so we have time to either get the box from the survivors or get to it before they can once we predict where it's going to spawn, and can just start those chain hunts either naturally or by finding the box. So kind of speed up the clock in their head, make them have to really jump on the box and use it to our advantage as slowdown. With the Artist then, these are just some generic cooldown on the Birds of Torment when they take flight, and then also make sure the swarm remains visible for a little bit more. It helps us with some tracking, trying to hit some shots. And then we just have Barbecue Lethal, and we have Scourge Hook and Deadman Switch, some old, relatively old now, combos of info and slowdown. Deadman's is very good on the Artist because you can push people off gens from a distance, so you get maximum value out of that. With the Unreal, we've got the Ring Drawing for Condemn, and then we've got the Mother's Comb to let us know which TVs are turned off. So just some information and some Condemn spreading. And then we just have a generic build. Say the best for last, speeding this up, keeping them from getting those tapes in. Discordance lets us know where to go, and then some slowdown. This is kind of one that you can play just normal M1 killer, or you can play real hard into the Condemn play style. Then with Dredge, we found the best for us is a make your choice build. So you've got some slowdown, you've got the Scourge hooks to pair up with slowdown info for make your choice. So you find someone, get them down, hopefully regress the gens, slap them on a Scourge hook. When they get picked off, now you see where the person that saved them was, you can teleport back there and one-shot them. And then we just have the Nightfall duration, and we have one to increase the charge speed of Nightfall because you are your strongest in your Nightfall. So easy peasy. With the Mastermind is just good. The add-ons that we found to be the best are the ones that increase the movement speed between the first and second bounds by 8% to lose crank. And we also like the one that increases the duration of the additional bound window. So it just makes it more forgiving, using your power a little easier to get some hits out of that. And then we have, again, slowdown, deadlock, no way out. You've seen those before, corrupt for the early game. And then you have no ed that pairs up well with no way out. So we're really relying on the strength of the killer's base kit and then just some slowdown. And then if things go bad, we've got this combo in the end game. With the Knight, a generic build, we have a lot of builds that are more tuned to very specific things. But this is the most useful generic build we've been able to come up with. You've got the counter effects multiple times. You've got detection range, so you can use your guards to break through stuff as you need to. And then you've got a bunch of slowdown with Pain Res, Jolt, Corrupt, and Save the Best for Last for speeding things up. Super basic, but it works. Skull Merchant, we'll see as things change with Skull Merchant. We always tried to play her as a chase killer. We're not really into 3-genning, so we had basically the good add-ons to gain haste when in a drone range and also hinder the survivors. So our idea was to drop them in chase to either make them leave the loop, or if they stayed, we sped up, they slowed down. Then we ran just Save the Best for Last to speed us up more, Corrupt, Jolt for slowdown, and No Ed just for some late game get out of jail free cards. So that's the build we like for a chase Skull Merchant. Though again, we don't play her all that much. She's not that fun of a killer. But if you find her fun, if you like placing drones, doing that kind of thing, we recommend this build. Then we get to Singularity. At the Singularity, our favorite build is a Plaything Pentimento for slowdown and just free hits kind of build here. And then we like Hubris with Enduring for one-shots. We think like these two pairings work well for slowdown and for chase. And then we run the Spin Auction tank, so when a survivor becomes slipstream, they are exhausted. That helps you in chase. And then overclock mode duration is increased by 15% with the kid's ball glove. So chase, 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 slow down, slow down. We find that fun and good. You could tweak some other things or run some more generic builds. This is one of our few little bit spicier builds that we also think is very good, useful on most maps. And then finally we have the Xenomorph, which this is kind of our spicier build, and then we'll go to a generic build. With this build, you've got survivors hit by tail attacks or mangled with Keen's helmet. That pairs great with a nurse's calling, keeps them healing, lets you know where they're at. We also have barbecue for information. Then for slowdown, we have Merciless Storm and Pop Goes the Weasel. And then we have this one, generators within 16 meters of turrets have their intensity revealed to you by their auras with how much progression they have. So you can use that to let you know where to go with your pop. You also can see when they're almost done and then get over there with your tunnels to chase them off the gens, get Merciless Storm the proc. So you got some slowdown, some info, and some mangled. So it just does a lot. We like that, and I think it works really well. You could run something like this, which is just a generic pop, Discordance, Tinkerer, Eruption build, with just some generic add-ons, the cereal rations, and the Ovomorph, but we think this is probably the most fun. So that gives us all of our killers done. So this was what, 30 minutes almost exactly, quick and dirty best builds. We ran through it pretty quick. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments. We want to keep this short so you can kind of go through it quick and not spend hours here with us. But I'm Smig. I'm signing off. We hope to see you guys in the comments, on stream, or in the fog sometime. I will say, if you do like the content, hit that subscribe button for more. Take care.